A makeup room in a US television studio is a world away from the West Auckland courses that Frank Nobilo grew up on. But this is the new life for a man who swapped a putter for a microphone to become arguably New Zealand's most visible golfer.
Hello everyone, Kelly Tillman alongside Frank Nobilo. Great to have you with us.
Glad to have you with us once again, Terry Gannon, along with Frank Nobilo.
Well, I knew his caddy very well. He's been out on the tour for a number of years, which is a good thing.
These conditions really aren't what Phil would have wanted to do. Really, it should be a great afternoon for TV. Tiger will have a knee that's been operated on 4 times, and then all of a sudden, maybe he would never catch or surpass it. Jack Nicklaus.
Frank Nobilo appears in 90 million US homes most weekends, but for all the glitz and glamour associated with his new career, it's nothing compared to the pampering he received in his playing days.
No, actually, we were looked after even better, believe it or not. We didn't have to put makeup on for a start, no disrespect. We got sport in other ways, courtesy cars, food, private travel, all of the above. Now we get pampered in different ways. TV for me is the right place at the right time. I didn't know whether to go back to New Zealand. I sort of took a year sabbatical with injuries and things like that. My daughter growing up in London, I didn't know whether to go there as well. New Zealand seemed so much further away from London, so my wife and I, we just stayed put for 12 months, and I ran into a gentleman by the name of Rich Lerner, and he said, "Have you ever thought about doing TV?" I'd said no, but I think I was driving my wife crazy, and she said, "Well, why don't you give it a go?" So I tried for a couple of events, didn't really like it. I tried a little more, and then lo and behold, I think I'm in my 8th year, and I don't know how that's happened. I really don't. So it's been great. It really has.
As Nobilo's twang suggests, he's firmly ensconced in the American life. He and wife Selena live in the golfing hotbed of Lake Nona, Orlando.
I can't believe you waited until Sunday to get into a good mood.
I'm going home. Yeah, I'm so 3 weeks old. I'm so every time my mum comes over, she always thinks I sound like an American. You know, I've always thought you can take the Kiwi out of New Zealand, but you can't take the Kiwi out of the Kiwi. So I've been lucky, and it's business is better for me if I stay here, but I'm going back to New Zealand this year for the first time. I think it's for 6 years, as my mum tells me on a frequent basis, but it has been fun. I never achieved in golf some of the things that I thought I would or I would have liked to. So for me, when I stopped, I was very bitter and twisted about it, and I thought, golf had treated me unfairly, but when I look back now, it hasn't. Everything I've got in life has been through golf, whether it be inside or now outside the ropes.
What could transpire today? Nota Begay, Frank Nobilo, Brandel Chambly with me, all with great Masters experience.
It's been 25 years since the last of Nobilo's 15 professional victories, but his new role as a broadcaster sees him as an authority on all things golf. And the former Aucklander still takes a keen interest in the fortunes of Kiwi pros.
It's distressing, the state of the game in New Zealand. I really thought Danny Lee, after he won in Perth, I just thought the sky's the limit, but I know he wanted to come and play in America. That didn't quite work out, so he's playing in Europe. You go through a transition. I don't know why we seem to struggle from that 18 to 22, 23-year-old level. We seem to produce a lot of good young talent to about sort of 18 years of age. As soon as that's that level of being grown up, I guess, and being able to travel and play, we stall. And whether it's a support system or what, I've never really put my finger on it. And we've seen a lot of players like that just struggle a bit. But, I know Michael Campbell's still working hard at his game. I'm glad he hasn't given it up. He's actually shown progress the last couple of months, change of instructor. But the game has also changed. But it's good that if he keeps playing, he can help some younger guys. But it's still hard to understand what happens to our players.
And Greg Norman will hope to tap into Frank Nobilo's passion and experience yet again. The Kiwi will repeat his role as vice-captain of the international team at this November's President's Cup at Royal Melbourne.
For me, golf being such an individual game, it was really nice to be part of, for example, World Cups playing for New Zealand. I always embraced the fact that when I could, I could never be an All Black, so the closest thing I was ever going to get to putting the silver fern on was playing in the Eisenhower as an amateur, the World Cup of Golf as a professional, or even the Dunhill Cup. So when I got to play in 3 President's Cups, I thought they were as good as anything else I'd ever done in my career. Then to win one, then to go as an assistant captain, and now do it again and go back to the site that we wanted was just great. But there's a lot more things behind the scenes that I wasn't aware of, even things like uniforms and opening ceremonies, what's going to happen, pairings, just the strategy involved for a team event, trying to get people on the same page. One luxury we have is that our players are used to travelling. One disadvantage we have is they're not used to playing for each other. They're used to playing for their respective countries. So just trying to get people from around the world that isn't Europe and America on one page is quite difficult.
Nobilo may live, work and talk American, but there's no doubting his Kiwi roots.
So I've got to say I love Steve actually talking about rugby because I know how much he likes NFL, so just to get a little bit of rugby chat out there was great. But I keep thinking every time we have the Rugby World Cup we're going to do it again. I'm actually going to try and see if I can either wangle some tickets or try and get there for a couple of games. I've only ever seen the All Blacks play live once, believe it or not, in all my life, and that was at Twickenham. And it's one of the greatest moments of my life was sitting in the stand, admittedly it was England, but watching the All Blacks come on and do the haka live, not on TV. So I'd like to see that be done in New Zealand because I never got the chance. I've been to Eden Park on a bunch of occasions to watch cricket, but I've never seen the All Blacks run onto Eden Park. And I'm going to do that one day, yeah.
Frank Nobilo has come a long way since his early forays into the world of television.
So there you have it. If you continue to have problems, go and see your local PGA pro.
I never ever appreciated how long it takes and how much time is involved, just maybe even cutting a 30-second interview or whatever. So now I see the flip side when trying to interview a guy, I'll get him on the set, and sometimes it takes an hour and a half. You're sitting there, you're trying to prep for notes. So in that frenzy with 5 or 10 minutes to go, I'm trying to put everything in perspective on what can happen or what did happen in that day. So I always thought it was easy. You just interviewed a guy, you stick the microphone in front, you ask a few questions or whatever. It's not as glamorous as what people think, but it's still golf, and if you can't play it for a living, I think covering it's the next best thing.